Welcome back, Patriots, to the Bald Brad Show. It is Wednesday, June 19th, and Joe Biden. Good old Joey. The geriatric, the puppet, the child sniffer, the guy that hits a golf ball backwards, falls up a flight of stairs, looks for dead people in the crowd, converses with dead people, fights with his teleprompter. We always say this every day in the intro, that him fighting with his teleprompter and losing is the most insane statistic in all of politics. Going on 4 years, Joe Biden has never won against his teleprompter. He falls going up a flight of stairs. He trips over sandbags at graduation ceremonies. He trips over blades of grass. He falls and can't get himself back up. Hell, he fell off his bicycle standing stationary. All of these things are taking place. Joe Biden is walking around wandering, but we were told, as you all saw, Joe Biden is fit. All those were deep fakes. They were cheap fakes, according to Karine Jean-Pierre, folks. Well, we have another blunder from Joe Biden coming up. We have mass amnesty going into effect, and we have yesterday's White House press briefing. We got a lot of stuff, folks. I got like 40 tabs open. Hope you're ready to go. Buckle up, because today's episode is a banger. Before we jump into any of the nonsense of the day, support a true American patriot, such as myself, by hitting that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. I know I ask of this every single day, but it really does support the channel. Look, we're a one-man show here, folks. We're no corporation behind us. There's nothing supporting us other than grassroots. You true American patriots in the live chat. Michelle, Miriam, Sharon, and Pat. I see all of you, folks. Hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. Your help support would be greatly appreciated. Well, a lot of news to cover. Holy lordy, and we got a lot of clips, folks. We probably got about 25 clips today. And we're going to kick it off here with Mr. Donald Trump thanking our incredible Wisconsin law enforcement officers when he was down there, I believe, doing a rally yesterday. Now, the reason I want to highlight this is, you don't see stuff like Joe Biden doing this. You know what I mean? You don't see Joe Biden going through, guys lined up, just wanting to take a photo with him or shake his hand. No. This happens all the freaking time with Donald Trump. I'm going to make sure that I don't blow your eardrums out. Here he is shaking the law enforcement's hands. He does this with people wanting to escort him or just having to escort him. Honestly, God, has anybody ever seen Joe Biden having a line of law enforcement wanting to shake his hand? No, because the Democrat Party tries to screw these men and women along. Biden coming up where none of this is real. It's all fake. It's not happening. They are cheap fakes. They are deep fakes. Here we go.
Yeah, and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right wing critics of the president have a credibility problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation, disinformation, and so we see this, and this is something coming from your part of the world, calling them cheap fakes and misinformation. And I'll quote the Washington Post, where they wrote about this, and they said how Republicans use misleading videos to attack Biden in a 24-hour period. And to their credit, we have a conservative Washington Examiner did call them out as well, calling out the New York Post.
Okay, so you guys remember that clip? That went viral yesterday. And so she's blaming and saying, hey, you know what? All the stuff we're doing here is cheap fakes, that we're even going out our way and doing deep fakes, which she said in another clip at the very, very end. So here she was just yesterday still doing this PR push, because we all know they're not fake, right? We know that Joe Biden's a wandering, doddering old fool. He's a geriatric president. He doesn't know what the hell's going on. Everything's burning around us. Well, she says it's still not true. She's like quadrupling down that all this is fake. Still gaslighting. It's unbelievable. Here we go.
Right. I think there is so much misinformation, disinformation, as we've been talking about. You talked about the video of the president wandering, and it's not true, right? The president wasn't wandering. He was talking to a parachuter that was right in front of him. And what you saw is the Republican Party really manipulating what was being said and what was being seen by the American people. And it's also very insulting,
to the folks the viewers who are watching it. And so we believe we have to call that out. We've been calling it cheap fakes. That is something that came directly from the media outlets and calling it that, the fact checkers and calling it that. And so we're certainly going to be really clear about that as well.
Yes, Neil, she is a psychopath. And Jerry, you're correct. She's a cheap fake. Damn, we got the best community here, folks. I'm telling you, you're hitting it strong in the chat, baby. Isn't it astonishing that she has the balls to say it's insulting to the American people of basically these Republicans and podcasters like myself for manipulating and putting out these cheap fakes, and in other words, gaslighting the American public, when in fact, she's the one every week to gaslight all of us? Isn't that insulting, Karine, that you sit up there and don't answer people's questions, you manipulate it, you sit there and lie consistently? Isn't that insulting? See how they try to flip this script, but we're not idiots. We know what the hell's going on. Somebody in the chat says she's cringe. Well, you're buckle up because we got a lot of Karine. We just have a lot of clips in general today. So we're manipulating stuff, you guys. None of the stuff that we show about Joe Biden's gaffes is real. So Karine, this is of course cut because we're not going to show an hour-long freaking speech of Joe Biden being a doddering old fool. You guys try to make out, one, what Joe Biden's trying to say, and you tell me if I'm showing you a deep fake and if this is a cheap fake. Here we go.
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure you're going to do so.
You guys need me to replay that? I think you do. Thanks
to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure you're going to do so. Thanks to all the members of...
Yeah, that's what I said. Wow. And so somebody came up with this. You guys are going to love this. Somebody posted this on Twitter. This is Joe Biden giving a speech. Holy Lordy, that's where we're at in this country. But don't worry, you guys. Follow the science. The same people that chanted, follow the science, they're gonna kill. Public health perspective. The issue came up as Fauci, a longtime director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, who advised both Trump and Biden before retiring at the end of 2022. So here's Ouchie Fauci. It's unbelievable. This guy's freaking disgusting. On CBS Morning News, talking about current politics. Just lovely.
American people, if we can't really grasp the science, we lean on our leadership.
Right.
And you spoke about your relationship and write about your complicated relationship with former President Donald Trump. He could possibly be our president again. Given that you know him personally, from a public health perspective, do you believe he is fit to lead us if he is elected president?
I don't want to get into what's fit or not. That I want to
from
stay
public health,
health
perspective.
From a health standpoint, he missed opportunities to use the bully pulpit of the presidency to tell people to do things that would keep them safe. That's what bothers me as a public health person, as a physician, who my only care and goal is the safety and the protection of the American public and their health. And, for example, he could have said when the masks came out and the CDC said wear a mask, instead of saying I don't want to wear a mask, he could have said mask saves lives. Yeah. I'll wear a mask. And then all the people who follow him religiously would have been wearing masks. And it would have been the same thing.
Folks, this is the guy. And if you're just joining us, Anthony Fauci came out and said in front of Congress, he just made up the 6-foot rule. This dude just pulled stuff out of his ass. And we're supposed to believe him? We're supposed to take him seriously? This guy thinks Joe Biden's fit to hold office. He really is. It's bewildering. It's literally bewildering that people will sit there and vote for Donald Trump. But it's not everybody, you guys. Some people actually see these clips and go, hey, you know what? Maybe this guy isn't all there. Maybe Joe Biden is a little lost. Well, he did in fact lose a major fundraiser. So or at least a donor. So a major fundraiser for former President Barack Obama says she is now supporting Mr. 45, Donald J. Trump, because President Joe Biden has been an unmitigated disaster for the United States. Correct. He is the worst president, at least in modern history. At least in modern history. Maybe not as far as he's literally in our totality of our U.S. history, the worst president, but definitely in modern history. So a 48-year-old immigrant who co-created an AI and robotics company that was bought by Google reportedly raised millions of dollars for Barack Obama in 2008. We'll talk about throwing money out the door on that one, huh? My role was to bring in Silicon Valley people for the $50,000 and $100,000 per plate dinner. We brought in Google co-founders, Larry Page, Eric Schmidt. Obama was a hopeful candidate who was outside of the system. Now, it shows you how lost she was because Barack Obama wasn't a candidate that was hopeful, and he wasn't a candidate that was outside the system. The dude was in Congress before he was elected president. He was in the system. And it shows that because this is the guy that allegedly committed espionage. This is the guy that was a part of the Fast and Furious case where they gave the cartels and drug lords a bunch of weaponry to go out and kill people. That they basically their idea of this was to sell them firearms, and then after the crime was committed, they'll be able to track where the firearms came from and who was using those firearms, and then go ahead and prosecute people. Go figure that one. After the crime was committed, after people were murdered, now we're going to figure it out. And the Obama administration were the ones that gave them the weaponry. This is the same guy that helped cover up Benghazi along with Hillary Clinton. This is the same guy that utilized the IRF to go after his political opponents, specifically Republicans and conservatives. I mean, he was a bleep show. And if you want to really go into philosophical stuff, this is the guy that tore our social fabric and really destabilized America in terms of what we believe to be true and not true. And what I mean by that is pushing the whole racism thing. So the guy is an unbelievably terrible president along with Joe Biden. So Biden has been asleep at the wheel. Oh, you're damn right. The question is that who's driving the ship? Who's driving the, let's say, who's driving the 18-wheeler? If you guys recall, Joe Biden told us all, making this up, I guess, Joe Biden said himself that he drove big rigs. Can you imagine Joe Biden behind a freaking big rig? I was out there with Dr. King, activists for black people. No, you weren't, Joe. Again, just yesterday he was touting how he's a professor teaching like the Constitution and all this other stuff. People just lop it up, folks. People love it. Well, what is he doing here? What is this geriatric president doing? Well, there's a program now that he's putting forth, a program to offer migrants humanitarian commercial flights. This is where we're deviating into the illegal immigration stuff, folks. I always told you, I promised you I'd keep you up to date. So he's giving them commercial flights directly to dozens of American airports, has seen supposedly endangered migrants fly to the U.S. from some of the world's richest countries. God, that's a little weird because Karine Jean-Pierre, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, Anthony Blinken, John Kirby, Jake Sullivan all said these people are coming from like war-torn countries. They're coming from countries that are dilapidated, they're third world, there's a climate crisis going on. Well, gee, they're all coming from richest countries? Weird. And they're getting flights paid for, and you're the ones paying for it? Migrants are being flown in from rich European countries such as France and Germany. Oh, and vacation hotspots like the Bahamas and Jamaica. Under the Biden administration's CHNV program, according to data obtained by the Center of Immigration Studies. This program, which allows migrants from Cuba, Haiti, Nicaragua, Venezuela to fly commercially directly to dozens of U.S. airports, was launched in 2022 and was created to give nationals from those countries and their family members sanctuary in the U.S. for urgent humanitarian reasons. You guys want to know how many people have so far utilized this program? About 500,000. 500,000 migrants were being flown into the U.S. back in 2022 up till today. There's a reason why you see all these immigrants inside these airports, right? Like we saw in Boston, hundreds of them just on the floor. There's a reason why Joe Biden 2 years ago couldn't find enough room at the border for all these people. And so he was flying them into the country and not telling anybody about it. There's all these programs that we didn't know about as American people, but don't worry, they're transparent. Don't worry. They're the most trustworthy administration that's ever existed. So they're coming from 77 countries. Quote, I would say this data is evidence that the parolee program is not being used to help aliens flee to safety, but rather as a secondary immigration system that has not been authorized by Congress. Joey breaking the law again. Who could have thought? Who would have thought? The administration is likely paroling in aliens who are already firmly resettled in safe and orderly countries, but are nevertheless benefiting under the guise of urgent humanitarian or significant public benefit reasons. We're being bullshitted so freaking much, it's ridiculous. And then they have the balls. Karine Jean-Pierre has the balls that you just saw to go on the news and say, well, it's just insulting to Americans that these Republicans are gaslighting them. Really, Karine? Because it seems like we're bringing the actual news to the American people. We're bringing the receipts to the American people, what's actually going on. And you're going to sit there and try to BS all of us. But don't worry. These are things of allowing illegal immigration, this mass amnesty. No, these are things that matter most to Americans, according to the Obama administration, these other psychos.
They can remain together as a whole family here in this country as a result of this executive order. Those are the things that matter most. And those are the ways in which President Biden continues to fight for, communities across this country that, really deserve the opportunity that we know is so important in this election. They can remain together.
This, folks, these are spokespeople. This is Biden's campaign manager, Julie Rodriguez. These are the same people that are coming out and saying Joey's fit. How many times do we have to show the clips? No, Americans are not for what Joe Biden's doing. Americans are not for mass amnesty. They're for mass deportation that we saw. Majority of Americans, which is truly astonishing because that means there's Democrats involved in that. Remember how Democrats were all about, well, it's racist to build a border wall. It's racist to deport people. Now, all of a sudden, they're for it because it's actually impacting them. You guys notice that theme? That we always tell Democrats what's going to happen if they implement certain policies, and they don't listen to us, but then they're completely fucking bewildered that the outcome of what Republicans said would happen was actually happening. Like, they're not even capable of wrapping their head around, holy crap, what you said happened really did happen. Yes. And so Joe Biden puts in this executive action, right? This executive authority, which he said he didn't have, but all of a sudden he has somehow. Well, things are still so bad at the border that smugglers are boasting, saying nothing at the border has changed.
Those smugglers are boasting nothing at the border has changed. This smuggler advertising on WhatsApp his menu of available routes for migrants to cross illegally into the U.S. Those smugglers.
A menu of routes. The dude has an app running a full-fledged business. These smugglers are running $1 billion plus operation, and Joe Biden's responsible for it. Yes, he is responsible. Very rarely do I like to tag somebody being responsible for something, but quite literally, this guy is responsible for creating or at least exacerbating billion-dollar industries. He has created 12 million new jobs, folks. It was just for these smugglers, these cartel, these other people from all around the world. No, Joe Biden is a businessman. Joe Biden just might be more of a businessman than Donald Trump with the amount of jobs he's created, except he hasn't created them for Americans. He's created them for everybody else. So Karine Jean-Pierre, well, she's going out doing her rounds just like we saw everybody else from the Biden campaign and all these other psychos saying, we can have mass amnesty for millions of illegal aliens and secure the border. Oh, because I was told years ago when Donald Trump wanted to secure the border that we couldn't do it.
You heard it directly from the president today, right? He talked about who we are as a country. He talked about the importance of putting forth legal pathways, but at the same time, securing our border. If you think about the announcement that he made today, it's about protecting American citizens, American families. You heard it directly from the president today.
Oh, he's going to protect American families, you guys. Joe Biden's going to protect American families. Put that one in your pocket because Joe Biden isn't doing that. And we'll get to the story about illegal aliens raping 13-year-olds and murdering families and murdering mothers of 5 children. No. He's all about protecting you. And they're doing the rounds with this mass migration thing, folks. They're doing this thing with mass amnesty. Marilyn, welcome. Marilyn Wilson just stumbled across your channel. Hey, American Patriots here. Would love for you to join us. Mayorkas insist they stand by Biden's unilateral mass amnesty, which puts 1 million illegals on a fast track to citizenship and public benefits. Remember, they're going to give them mass amnesty. So now they get opportunities at your Social Security, your public housing, and voting rights. That's what it's about. This is the goal all along, was your voting rights.
Alicia, what we do before we take action is we study the law and ensure that the actions that we take are indeed lawful. That we have done with respect to this action, like we have done with all our prior actions. It is no surprise that Stephen Miller intends to attack this in the courts. We stand by it, not only in terms of its legality, but in terms of its significant public benefit for America.
This guy, dude, he enrages me. DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas just absolutely enrages me. So he's in the same interview, he goes on and talks about the excuses Biden's unilateral mass amnesty for illegal aliens, because we need people who are willing to work. So we should give mass amnesty to a bunch of people because these people are willing to work, allegedly.
Stephen Miller called today's action, quote, unconstitutional executive amnesty for illegal aliens. Your response, Secretary?
I'll drive right by that. There is very little, if anything, that Stephen Miller says with which I agree. He condemns immigrants, whether legally here or otherwise, and so many have contributed so significantly to the well-being of our country in terms of local communities, our national economy. We need people who are willing to work hard to serve on the front lines.
You really, this guy is the epitome of the swamp. Scum. This guy is a part of, I think this guy should be tried for treason. I built my argument. This guy's allowing terrorists to come into the country. He's lied to Congress. He's been caught under oath lying to Congress. How is it? And you know, I'm not a big fan of Steve Bannon. I don't hate Steve Bannon. I don't watch his show, The War Room. How is it Steve Bannon's getting locked up, but he's not getting locked up for lying under oath? How is it that none of these other people are being locked up for lying under oath or not acknowledging subpoenas, but Steve Bannon gets put behind bars? How's that whole thing happening? So now Mayorkas is bragging. After he just gets done with this whole rambling, this whole spiel, he brags about creating more pathways for illegal immigrants.
President Biden, he campaigned on making a safe, orderly, and humane immigration system. Do you believe that that has been accomplished?
We work at that every single day across the Department of Homeland Security, across our administration, with our partners to the South and around the world. We have established more lawful, safe, and orderly pathways than any other administration, and we are working every day to strengthen the security of our border.
President Biden, he campaigned on...
How does that guy have the balls to say that when you have, at this point, it's close to 12 million illegal aliens pouring across into our country and invasion? You have 12 million people come into somebody else's country at any other time. That's an invasion. But no. Here it's just, you can't say things like that. To put it in perspective, many years ago, I did a short, maybe a year ago or two, where you had 120,000 troops invade Ukraine. Russian troops invaded Ukraine, right? 120,000, that was called an invasion. But yet when we have 10 million people pour across, you can't call it that, folks. You can't call it that for some reason. It's an invasion. So you have somebody with their head on straight here, Scott Jennings, saying the reality is he's governing by political panic. This is why he's putting in this mass amnesty, because the Democrats need votes. They don't know what to do because things aren't going to get any better with Joe Biden. He's not going to all of a sudden, like a spark's going to go off and his dementia is cured. No, he's going to sit there and keep running this country into the ground. And finally, we have somebody with their head on straight here.
Why didn't Joe Biden do this on his first day in office, as opposed to doing it today here in the shadow of a presidential campaign? I mean, the reality is he's governing by political panic. If this is such a great idea, why didn't he do this on day one? Why didn't he do last week's executive order on day one? Why did he cancel all of Trump's immigration orders? I agree with Maria. People are tired of chaos, and they believe the chaos has been caused by Joe Biden and the way he's handled this for the last 3.5 years. The polling is clear. By the way, politically, I don't think the American people are in a pro-amnesty mood right now. You look at what Trump is proposing.
What do you mean, Scott? We just saw a bunch of clips of the White House saying that people were for this. What do you mean? This is on CNN, folks.
There's a lot of polling that shows majority support for what Trump is saying, including among Hispanics in the United States of America. They
what
like
about
what
detention?
Trump is saying.
Trump falsely claims virtually 100% of new jobs created under Biden have gone to illegal aliens. I mean, figuratively, that's true, right? We just got done saying how many jobs the guy's created for illegal aliens. And by the way, we don't really know the number of the amount of jobs created, but obviously it's not 100%. But, you know, this is what they do. They want to sit there. Trump says a bunch of stuff like, I want to sit there and build a wall that's going to be able to be seen by Elon Musk on Mars. A nice, big, beautiful border wall. And they're going to say, well, Trump said you could see it from Mars. You're not going to be able to see it from Mars. They don't understand figurative speech. They don't understand that you can, like, during conversation, you kind of exacerbate things a little bit for the sake of, like, hyping it up. We can't see it from Mars. No shit. God, it's a figure of speech, man. They don't get it. They're MS-13 violent gang members. They're animals. They'll sit there and cut off your head. They'll wear your ears as freaking necklaces. Like, and then they go, well, they're not animals. Oh my God, he said illegal immigrants are animals. No, he said MS-13 gang members are animals. And that's why nobody believes the mainstream media, because they're liars. And so speaking of the drug cartel, speaking of violent gang members, speaking of giving people jobs, well, the DEA investigation accuses drug cartel of laundering millions through Chinese networks in LA. Oh, just lovely. So check this out, you guys. Federal authorities announced that a 5-year investigation uncovered a complex scheme between one of Mexico's most notorious drug cartels and Chinese individuals in the U.S. who laundered millions of dollars from illicit drug sales. Where's this coming up through? The southern border. Who's doing this? Well, clearly you have people working with the drug cartel and the Chinese in the U.S. to sell Americans drugs and kill a bunch of Americans. So on Tuesday, the Justice Department announced a 10-count superseding indictment charging Los Angeles-based associates of Mexico's drug cartel with conspiring with money laundering groups linked to Chinese underground banking and laundering drug trafficking proceeds. During the conspiracy, officials said more than $50 million in drug proceeds flowed between this cartel associates and Chinese underground money exchanges. And you know who's exacerbating this problem? Joe Biden. But we can't blame Joey. Nothing can be put on Joe Biden because it's everybody else's fault, according to Joe Biden and his administration. So I want to make sure I bring that up to you guys of, hey, it's good that we caught this stuff, but it only gets exacerbated by a president that doesn't want to sit there and lock up the border, because you're going to get drugs poured across. But what are you also going to get? You're going to get assholes like this, where allegedly an illegal alien violently raped a young girl in New York City last week. But this wouldn't have happened if Joe Biden wanted to actually be serious on the border and also deport some of these people that are committing heinous crimes. Upwards like 16 times some of them, like we saw in the other day's episode. So this was ordered to be deported from the U.S. 2 years ago, but the Biden administration failed to remove him. Oh, lovely. Oh, you're doing a great job. Remember how I said, put that one thing in your pocket, where Karine Jean-Pierre said Joe Biden's protecting your communities, that Joe Biden's doing a great job of executing the laws on the books? Doesn't seem like it, because now somebody got raped because Joe Biden doesn't want to do his damn job. New York City police arrested 25-year-old illegal immigrant from Ecuador after residents beat him up and held him down until law enforcement arrived. Oh, but I hold on. We were told, we're the liars here according to the White House. Remember, everything that I say is a bunch of bullshit according to the White House. We were told the White House said communities are safer, crime is down, and these people want nothing but good lives. They're just here to assimilate into our country, not do anything wrong. They want to sit here and just be a part of the American dream. If so, why is it countless articles after article after article that keep springing up with people raping Americans, giving Americans drugs, joining gangs, doing money laundering, raping our children, killing and murdering Americans? Like that one lady we just saw the other day, forgive me, I forgot her name already. There's a lot of news out there, but a mother of 5. Like, it's unbelievable. And I shouldn't have forgotten her name. If anybody's going, well, that's kind of wrong, Brad, I apologize. But you understand what I mean. There's a lot of stuff going on through my head right now. I mean, you see how many tabs are up here. Look at all those. There's like 50 tabs up there. So, you know, it's not an excuse, but you understand what I mean. Is Joe Biden sucks ass. Joe Biden sucks. We get an FJB in the chat. You know, I'm going to throw one up there for you guys just so you know that it really is me, FJB. Here we go. There you go. There's one for Joe Biden. I'll give him the double middle finger, but, you know, we get removed off YouTube. So This person entered the U.S. with alleged son and was deemed inadmissible by border agents because they lacked proper documentation to be in the U.S., but were released with a notice to appear in immigration court anyways. And what'd they do it? Here you go. Humanitarian reasons. God, that sounds a lot like an article that we just covered where the Biden administration were bringing in people from commercial flights into the U.S. For what? For what? Humanitarian reasons. Oh, unbelievable. Unbelievable. So this guy was armed with a large machete-style knife, but don't worry, you guys. He's just out there protecting his community in the same way that he learned it from Joe Biden, protecting communities all around. So he sat there and allegedly molested a 13-year-old girl. Disgusting stuff. Disgusting stuff. And Joe Biden's allowed it to happen. And we know it's allowed to happen because he went forward with it. He actually went forward with it. So Biden announced on Tuesday that he was rewarding hundreds of thousands of migrants who violated federal immigration laws, which comes as he claims that he's cracking down on illegal immigration. The dude gives mass amnesty, and then he sits there and says, well, I'm cracking down on illegal immigration. You give illegal immigrants access to the country illegally, and then you give them amnesty, and you're going to tell us that you're being harsh on illegal immigration. And we're the liars. You're damn right I'm going to be pissed, and I'm going to use that for freaking eternity. We're the liars when you see for your own eyes this knucklehead, and that's me being generous, going out and saying all these things. So this new policy, as you saw, will provide legal status and streamline a pathway to residency and citizenship for more than 500,000. Remember, this was a lowball number. We didn't actually know what the number was going to be. They just threw a number out there, and they said themselves, well, it could be more. This action will allow them to file paperwork for legal status in the United States, allowing them to work while they remain with their families in the United States. In order to be eligible, the illegal aliens must have met a 10-year requirement, or else they will have to wait for the next Democrat mass amnesty program. I'm keeping it together. You guys know I'm doing good right now. Oh boy, am I getting riled up. That's why we have the coffee. It keeps my mouth shut when I'm about to lose my shit. So Mike Johnson, who is kind of wish-washy, slammed Biden in a statement saying that just 2 weeks ago, Biden pretended to crack down on open border by engaging in election year border charade. Yes, the guy sucks, okay? We can't do 4 more years of Joey. We just can't. Can you imagine 4 more years of Joey? And remember, that's like, right now he thinks that he can actually win again. And maybe he's right. But you give him 4 more years where he knows there's no re-election, right? He knows he has like 4 years of life left. What do you think he's going to do with the border then? He's just not going to give he already doesn't give 2 shits, but he's really not going to care. And at that point, we'll probably get close to, I would say probably 13 million illegal aliens that we know about coming through the Biden administration by the end of this year. Can you imagine another, let's say minimum 13, that's 26 million people in the span of 8 years minimum that Joe Biden's allowed in this country, on top of the 25 million that are already here. You're talking 50 million people in your country here illegally. That's like 3/4 of our states in population, and they want to give them mass amnesty. Well, we're going to get to yesterday's White House press briefing, folks. Before we jump into any of that, support us again by hitting that like and subscribe button. We got a lot of new people joining us in the chat today, like Marilyn Wilson. I'm supposed to have glasses on. I can't see, but I tried to make the chat bigger, but I couldn't. Miss Wilson, thank you so much for joining us. Morning, people. We are here live. We go live on Summers. I almost said every day, but we don't do every day. Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Would love for you to join us. We do have a membership tab. Become a Patriot right down there. 99 cents a month, folks. A month. All right, well, there was some crazy ish that happened, and I'm actually going to give Karine Jean-Pierre a compliment, okay? Just so you guys know, we do throw compliments out here every now and then. There was an emergency, and a medical emergency at the White House yesterday where a lady passed out. So the White House press briefing was interrupted where a lady did pass out, and you have right here Karine Jean-Pierre. Can't make it any bigger. She actually left the podium and walked over to the individual and made sure that they were okay. She hovered over them. I actually like this because what it does is it removes the politics. It removes the craziness that we see from this lady and how psycho and off her rocker she is. But it also does show a different side of this lady. It also shows that she has at least a heart of compassion for people. And like I said, it kind of makes it more humanistic at the end of the day, which something like this does happen. But, kudos to her. for not just standing up there and going, oh, well, is she okay? Somebody check on her. She actually got down during the briefing itself and made sure the person's okay. So I wanted to give kudos to Karine there before we actually go and rip her apart right now for yesterday's White House press briefing. I want to see if I can find the actual clip for you. I had it queued up somewhere in my log. All right, here we go. Here's the clip of the person passing out and Karine getting off the stage.
Move today. Can you just give us a sense of?
Oh, hold on. Did somebody pass out?
Yes. Let me get.
Okay. Can we get?
Yep.
Move today. Can you just?
Could it be a ploy? Sure. I mean, Miriam's out there going, it's bullshit. We have the best members, man. Miriam just like right off the bat, didn't even play the clip yet. It's staged. There you go. Yeah, this was all set up. Oh, God, I love hanging out with you guys. You're freaking the best. Could it be? Sure. Could she have tried to use it to cut down time because she didn't want to answer anybody's questions? It could, like, there might be some truth to it because she goes, did somebody pass out? Like, I mean, did somebody have a heart attack? Like, I mean, I don't know. Is it common that people are passing out? Who knows? So we got a lot of clips here of Karine Jean-Pierre. The first one says, Biden will announce executive amnesty for 1 million illegals already in the country as thousands cross the open border. Holy Lordy.
Today, President Biden will announce that the Department of Homeland Security will take action designed to help U.S. citizens with non-citizen spouses keep their families together. This new process will help certain non-citizen spouses and children apply for lawful permanent residency, a status they are already eligible for without having to leave the country. Additionally, President Biden will announce that the administration will facilitate the employment visa process for those who have graduated from college and have a high-skilled job offer, including DACA recipients and other dreamers. Today,
you love that, right? She leads off with, we're going to give minimum 500,000 people that are spouses to American citizens amnesty. And cherry on top, a bunch of DACA people, which is millions of illegal aliens. Why? Because they want the votes. The election's coming up. They need the votes. And why would you not vote Democrat when you feel that you're entitled to give them the vote because they just gave you citizenship in this country? They gave you a nice big gift before the election. You know they're going to vote for Joe Biden. I hope they vote for Donald Trump, but vote for Joe Biden. So there's a question here proposed of saying, is the administration confident that USCIS can handle possibly hundreds of thousands of new applicants given the current backlog? Because remember, they're going to have to still file the paperwork. The question is, how long is it going to take them to get the paperwork actually finalized?
The administration confident that U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services can handle possibly hundreds of thousands of new applications given the current backlog of other immigration applications?
So, look, we have always said, and I said this at the top, like the way that we would love to move forward is in a more balanced approach, obviously, and get that bipartisanship from Congress. The first day of his administration, as I've already stated, and I've stated this many times, we wanted to see a comprehensive immigration process, a legislation. That's what the president put forward.
The administration confident.
We have a process, but the thing that the Biden administration wants is for this paperwork to be processed quicker so that they can get these people to vote in November. I mean, this stuff writes itself. So the question is, I mean, this is really the main question of the day. Why mass amnesty now? Like, why not do this years ago? Why are they waiting right before the election? And, you know, we know why, right? I mean, again, it comes down to the votes. It's a rhetorical question. But why now, Karine? Why right before the election? Why not 3 years ago?
And when it comes to the new executive actions today on immigration, can you just talk us through why now? Why not earlier?
So look, and I said this a little bit, and I'll say it again, which is, and we say this, our immigration system is broken. It has been for some decades. The president wants to have a comprehensive legislative fix. That's the process that we actually want to take, and that's why he did on day one.
Unbelievable. It's been broken for decades. Lady, the question was, why didn't you do it 3 years ago on day one? If it's been broken, then it was broken on day one, was it not? I mean, you just got done saying it was broken for decades. So why'd you not do it then? because, again, they need the votes. They're trying to rig this thing again. This is one of the many things they're trying to do to sit there and skew the election in Joe Biden's favor here in 2024. So Jean-Pierre denies unilaterally granting mass amnesty to a million illegals already in the country is an election year stunt. So we all know what it is, and we're the people gaslighting you, but it's not the Biden administration or the White House gaslighting anybody.
How do you respond to Republicans who say this particular move is just an election year stunt?
Look, I'm not here to talk about election year. That's not what I'm here to talk about. I'm here to talk about the president's policy and why he's doing this, because we have a broken immigration system. The president did this on his first day when he put forth a comprehensive immigration system.
How do you respond to Republicans?
I'm reading the chat, man. You guys are freaking unbelievable. It's not a stunt. They're trying to steal the election. We're voting for the outlaw, are we not? We're voting for the outlaw. Donald J. Trump's gonna fix America. Well, she was also asked about these executive actions, and she said, we want to make sure that we're securing the border. Folks, Biden took 94 executive actions in his first 100 days of dismantling President Trump's border security. Then he allowed millions of unvetted illegals pour into our communities, and she's going to sit there and say, we want to make sure that we're securing our borders. But we're the liars. Remember, we're the ones that create deep fakes. We create cheap fakes here.
We want to make sure that we're securing the border. We want to make sure that we're doing everything that we can to do that. And we also want to make sure that we have a fair and just system. And that is something that the president continues to live by.
How is it fair and just when there's people that are law-abiding immigrants that want to come to this country and they're following the rules, but then you have a bunch of people that said, no, fuck you, I'm going to cut the line and come into the country illegally, and I'm going to siphon from the taxpayer's wallet? And then I want to sit there and make parades in localities like New York City and other places and demanding that I get certain benefits from the taxpayers once again. Why is it right that those people get mass amnesty, but you're going to sit there and screw over everybody else that wants to do the process legally? Why? Because the Democrats need votes. They don't give two shits about the law. They haven't given two shits about the law since the inception of their damn party, and they're constantly running this country into the ground. And I'm going to leave it right there in terms of, we're not done yet, but in terms of me ranting, because y'all know, we all know Brad could go off his rocker too. Sometimes you get pent up and you start saying things that you don't think you should be saying, you know? So, well, she's declining to say what exactly Biden will be doing over the next week at the beach in Camp David. Yes. You know, Brad, whoa. Did you just say that the dude's going to Camp David and the beach again? Yes. Everything going on. This dude has spent more time on vacation than any other president. And what is he doing? He's going there for debate prep. Yeah. No. He's going to Camp David and the beach for debate prepping. Ah, okay.
And just on the stretch of days that the president will be spending at Camp David, how much of that time will be devoted to debate prep, and just what have you observed the president do in recent days in terms of preparing for the debate? Like, have you seen him, going back to watch previous debates between the president and the former president or anything like that?
So as it relates to debate prep, that is squarely in the camp of the campaign. So I have to keep that there, and I'm not going to speak in details about that. And so what I will say is that while the president is at Camp David and
holy shit, get out of your mouth. God, it's not she's acting like she's like solving some sort of physics problem. Sound like Joe Biden. No, hold on a second. Can we do a comparison? I know, I apologize, but can we do this really quick?
While the president is at Camp David and Rehoboth, he certainly will.
Like, she can't get a thought out, right? Hold on a second. I promise I'm going to make a point here for all of you. I just got to find it. How is that any different than what you heard here?
Members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure you're going to do so.
I mean, damn. Holy lordy. Let me go back for you. I apologize. Let's hear her ramble still.
See folks as needed. We'll continue to hold briefing calls.
Oh, I don't think that was the right clip. Now I'm all out of order. Now here we go. I screwed myself up. There's a lot of tabs here, folks. I'm trying to keep this thing in order.
We'll be able to be to stay up to date on what's going on, to get updates from his senior advisors, from his team. As we say many times, the president could be president anywhere. We have the infrastructure to do just that. I don't have anything specific on how his time is being divided, but I can tell you this: the president.
I don't have any specifics on how his time is being divided. Yeah, majority of that time is spent sleeping. And again, a lot of chaos going on. And this dude is going to the beaches in Camp David. Now, to be fair, Donald Trump did do a lot of golfing. But the thing is that that's only like for a couple hours. And the dude can run the country with his freaking eyes closed. Joe Biden, when his eyes are closed, he's sleeping. Joe Biden is not actually running the country. We don't really know who is. Our best guess here on the Bald Brad Show is the deep state. We got a lot of patriots here that think maybe it's Barack Obama, and damn, maybe you're right. So she sits there and won't hold press briefings while Biden is away for his debate prep. You guys, they went like 2.5 weeks without doing a press briefing. So, what's going to happen here? We just don't get anything from this nutso? I mean, granted, we don't get much from her anyways, but we don't get a single press briefing.
Do you intend to brief during the time that he is away?
We don't typically do traditional press briefings when the president is away, so we do not have a scheduled formal briefing to speak of, but obviously we will continue, the press team and with our policy folks as needed, we'll continue to hold briefing calls when appropriate to preview upcoming events.
Unbelievable. Nope, no press briefings, just lovely. Like, dude, we don't get anything from them. But don't worry, most transparent administration, folks. I'm going to continue to say that for the rest of the freaking year. Most transparent administration that's ever existed. So she's unable to coherently answer basic questions about anything. And she cements herself here, I mean, quite frankly, as the most incompetent press secretary in modern history through what you just saw. She sucks, you guys. I know that you know this, and I know we repeat ourselves a lot here on the show, but this is the epitome of what a DEI hire looks like. This is why you hire somebody not on race or, what they identify as, but you hire people based on their characteristics, their traits, what they have to offer, meaning their noggin. But the Democrats love race, folks. We here on the Bald Brad Show, we don't give two shits about your race. We care about your ideology, who you are as a person, and we follow Dr. King's morality and what he said. So Biden will continue to look at ways he can use executive authority to allow even more unvetted illegal aliens into the country.
Does the White House feel that it is that President Biden has exhausted everything that he can do on this matter by executive order?
Yeah. I mean, but look, you see the president making an announcement. He's going to make an announcement today. He took an executive action a couple weeks ago. We continue to say we're going to look to see what else we can do. And this is what he's, directed his team to do, right? Is to look at ways that we can deal with this broken immigration system. But this is piecemeal, right? I mean,
does the White?
It really is a remarkable thing to watch. That for years they said we can't use executive action. We don't have the authority to do anything, and now they're making it seem like they have a menu of options they can go through, just like we saw that smuggler doing. Of all the ports of entry that they can go through illegally. Like now all of a sudden, they have a menu of executive action that they could take. They just spent years telling us that they couldn't do anything. We had to do it legislatively. We can't do any of that. Well, I think you guys saw enough of Jean-pierre, am I right? There was more, but I think we're going to deviate from that because I want to get into some just Howley news. Josh Howley, this is a good clip. Josh Howley grills a Boeing CEO about his multi-million-dollar salary at the embattled aerospace company on Tuesday. This dude makes $32.8 million as the CEO of Boeing. We're not going to watch the whole thing here because it's 6 minutes long, but you could head over to C-SPAN if you want to catch the whole clip. But why are you getting paid $32.8 million for a company that has so many disasters in it?
Is it that you get paid currently?
Senator, that's well disclosed in our proxy documents in each of the years that I've been employed.
Yeah, but what is it?
That's a big number, sir.
Well, let me help you out. It's 32.8 million this year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
That's a 45% increase over last year. Does that sound right?
Yes, it does.
What is it you get paid to do exactly?
I get paid to run the Boeing company.
Yeah. So just help me understand that. I mean, do you get paid for transparency? Is that one of the metrics for your income?
I think the board counts on me for transparency.
Really? Because you're under investigation for falsifying 787 inspection records. The Boeing's under criminal investigation for the Alaska Airlines flight. You were investigated by DOJ for criminal conspiracy.
Michelle heard it too. 45% increase with everything going on with Boeing. 45%. Yo, I'm all for people making a ton of money, but damn, that has to be a justifiable increase, and I don't think it is.
To defraud the FAA. This is all in your tenure. This doesn't sound like a lot of transparency to me. What about safety? Is that a component of your salary?
It sure is, Senator.
You know, have you seen the reports that the subcontractor that you used to make that door piece that fell out of the sky, that when the FAA went and toured the facility, they found one door seal being lubricated with Dawn liquid dish soap and cleaned with a wet cheesecloth, and another was being checked with a hotel.
Hellie's the best. A wet cheesecloth. Yeah, there you go, Robert. What? Yeah. Holy shit. 45% increase, $32.8 million.
Hotel room key card. Does that sound like safety to you?
Senator, I think our relationship with that particular supplier has been well documented, reviewed by the FAA, and most certainly us. And I'm very intent on acquiring that company so that none of that ever happens.
You know, the FAA also says that Boeing still has not implemented the recommended steps back from 2019 and 2020 after the MAX crashes. You still have not taken the appropriate safety procedures or implemented what they recommended. I mean, how, if safety is a component of your $33 million compensation package, I mean, how can you possibly qualify for any of this? What about quality? Is quality part of your compensation package?
Senator, I meet with the FAA pretty regularly. They don't hold anything back, and I'm not aware of anything that has been cited with respect.
I mean, it's an unbelievable clip, is it not? And that was only 2 minutes and 30 seconds, and Hallie really does lay down the law bigly. Well, in other news here, we have foreign aid and student loan forgiveness still coming out. And what they have here is this foreign aid and student loan debt forgiveness is a big, massive increase in our deficit estimate. Isn't that just lovely? This comes from the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office. So, but don't worry, you guys. Everything about the label here is misinformation. It's disinformation. So America's debt is growing faster than previously expected. And what you guys got to realize here is our interest is starting to get really far up there. So this is largely due to actions taken by the Biden administration and recent legislation, according to the CBO. The United States' projected deficit is almost $2 trillion for this year, $400 billion higher than it was projected to be in February. But we sat there and heard that Joe Biden didn't increase the deficit. We were told the deficit's down. We were told the guy didn't do it. Well, what's going on with the CBO here saying that, well, the deficit's projected to be $2 trillion. We're spending $2 trillion more than what we have. Folks, this used to be like an entire presidency in terms of debt. And we're just doing this in 1 year. The CBO analysts increased their estimate due in large part to foreign aid package. So we're sending money to other people that we don't have. What does that mean is we're doing this all on credit. We're just swiping the credit card for other people's countries, taking out loans that we have to pay for. So if the United States continues its current course, the debt, holy shit. I haven't read this, so you're getting a real-time reaction. That just took the freaking wind out of me. The debt will reach $50.7 trillion by the end of 2034. In 10 years, $50 trillion. Folks, that debt will be 122% of America's GDP. $95 billion in aid to Ukraine, And Joe Biden just sat there and signed a freaking thing that said, oh, we'll sit there and support you for the next 10 years. Why do we support ourselves? I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it. Unbelievable stuff here. We don't have the money. We don't have the money. God, man, our country's doomed. We are fucking doomed. I don't mean to cuss. I'm sorry, because I know some of you have kids and everything, but we are. Look, 50 trillion. At what point can I start cussing here where it becomes a little bit crazy? I think that was an appropriate cuss, right? I think that was an appropriate use of the F word. If it wasn't, what am I supposed to wait till? Am I supposed to wait till 100 trillion to cuss? Look, we're not going to, we'll feel it, but maybe not in our lifetimes, but y'all have kids. I don't have kids yet. I don't want my kids going through this debt. You know, this immigration and our debt is the two biggest things to me in terms of politics. Those are the two. That's why we cover both of them all the time here, because people got to wake up to this, man. This is not good. We're getting to the point where our money is just going to go to paying off interest. We're not even actually going to be paying down the deficit at all. And I think we might have already hit that. Well, in other news here, because everything is going so swell, according to Joe Biden, just everything's completely fine. Well, we got more places closing down here. More than a dozen Indiana Pizza Huts abruptly close. But hold on a second. I thought everything was going fine according to Joe Biden. The economy's doing great. Then why are all these restaurants closing, Joe? Why is everybody getting the hell out of California? I understand this is Indiana, but why did we just see like 48 stores the other day closed down? So 15 restaurants, and that was Rubio's, by the way. Rubio's, 48 locations in the state of California are closing. So 15 restaurants were located across northwestern Indiana and run by franchisee EYM Group. Is anybody in the chat from Indiana? Do we have anybody here from Indiana? Their report closures come as EYM Group and Pizza Hut have been engaged in legal action against each other. Both parties have dodged claims of contract breaches. So Pizza Hut allegedly has breached its franchise agreement and subsequent forbearance agreement that they reached in 2023. The pizza chain allegedly had a history of late paying fees owed to Pizza Hut and other interested entities pursuant to the franchise agreement. So it looks like people weren't getting their money, and they weren't getting their money probably because there is no money to be given, because everything is going down the pooper with Joe Biden being in office. A lot of stuff is going on, but don't worry, you guys. Joe Biden's going to solve it from being on the beaches in the sun. Joe Biden, amidst everything that's going on, is going to be on vacation once again, and I think I saw Pat throw in the chat earlier. It's more than 40% of his presidency now. This dude, quite frankly, could be over 50%. The reason why I say that is because he's not doing anything in the White House. The dude sleeps half the time. That's why he walks out with CPAP machines on his face. The guy is not running the country. Somebody else is. And whoever that person is running this country into the ground. So, holy lordy, damn good show today, folks. Damn, look, I'm having, dude, let me know. Are our live chats killing it? Is our live streams up there, folks? I feel like we upgraded the show by doing it live. There's more energy. There's more news. We're going on for an hour straight. I think we're doing good. We're doing good here. If you're new to the channel and you think that we earned your subscription, hit that like and subscribe button. Leave us a comment down below. We do have a website, baldbrad.com. We have a book, folks. We had a lot of new subscribers. We have a book called Trojan Horse, How the Left is Destroying America. There's a great deal on freaking Amazon right now. Amazon is basically handing this out for free at this point. And we were up there in the chain of books. I don't know if you guys saw that. We were like super high up in political books the other day. I was like, what's going on? I don't track this all the time. I was like, what's happening? Well, folks, it's all because of your support. We do have merchandise. We got it all. We got memberships, everything. But you just watching the videos all the way through and constantly supporting us that way, that is what means the best. Always hang out with us in live chat, folks. You know I love y'all. I see all of you. You're true American patriots. And I will see you tomorrow with more news and wild news here on The Bald Brad Show.